Hello, 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 and welcome to the latest installment of And Sarah Appeared. Of course, my name is Sarah, and I'm appearing before you today because I am transitioning out of a transactional relationship with God. For the longest time, my relationship with God was in three different cycles. The first cycle was like, I'm not worthy of God's love. I'm not worthy of who God is to me. I'm not worthy of him being my father. I'm not worthy of him even loving me. Once I came out of that, it went straight into, oh, like I'm entitled to this love. Um, it shifted. Like pride is a tricky thing. Pride will shift you from being overly self-reliant and doing it all yourself, self-certified sister soldier. And then for me, it shifted from doing everything for myself and not being reliant on God to shifting into I deserve this and entitlement. There's like two different spectrums to pride. And so with that comes a lot of unlearning, and a lot of questioning of yourself, of myself. Um, is my relationship with God just merely transactional? Do I only love God when I'm receiving? Like, do I see God as this resource and when I don't get my way, completely fly off the handles or just walk away from God altogether? And the reason why I kind of look at things like that for me is because I see a lot of dynamics in the way that I've had a relationship with God literally translate over into the way that I've dealt with interpersonal relationships, whether it be community, family, or love interest, or friendship. And with that being said, like I've just had, because of self-limiting beliefs, because of not really doing the work and bearing, like not doing the work, not figuring out what the root of the problem is, which the root of the problem is me. If I don't participate in my healing, nobody else is going to show up in that. It doesn't matter what you do, but if you don't get real with the fact that you have a problem and you have to get over it and you can't do it on your own, then at the end of the day and at the beginning of the sentence, you're going to be stuck and spinning your wheels. And with that being said, I can blame as many people as I want to. And I can air out as many grievances as I want to. And I can say, this one put me through this and this one did that to me. But I'm not the only person who's ever through anything. Jesus has gone through things as well. And so with that being said, it's like, am I going to come out of a transactional relationship with God? And am I going to accept that when in whatever season I'm in, whether I am in a season of highs or seasons of lows? Will I consciously make the decision to still serve God, or am I going to be wavered by my emotions forever? And so I do understand a lot of what I have gone through. I've been a willing participant of it. Like, I have been addicted to my pain. And the way I was addicted to my pain was it served as a security blanket for me. Like I said in a previous video of mine, I had a funeral for my pain. I had a funeral for what was going on with me. And I'm done with it. I feel like now I can progress, I can go forward, and I don't have to like look back at it. I don't feel like any kind of disruption in my spirit, but it's not, I don't feel it, I don't believe it, and I'm not gonna play into it. A lot of the times I play into my victimhood because it gets me noticed. And when you've gone so many years with being unnoticed, overlooked, overshadowed, overpushed, and there's nothing but harsh words that's been said to you, you look for the severity in every situation, and you become addicted to this survival mode. You become addicted to this idea of, you know, I've got to struggle. I've got to have a hard time because this is the only way that life is going to be. And I'm coming out of like the carnal mind and thinking of constantly being in survival mode to being in the ebb and flow of finally becoming more mature in my Christianity, becoming more mature in who I am in Christ. And it's an up and down. It has been a roller coaster, and I know the word says a double minded man is unstable in all his ways, and that's exactly how I've been unstable, unapologetically unstable, because I wanted to show the in and out of consciousness that I am able to experience and go through when I'm governed by my feelings versus being governed by the facts. And the facts of everything is, if I don't decide that I want to be healed, I won't be healed. As a man thinketh, so is he. Right? So with that, it's been a journey. There's been some moments where I've just been like, I'm out of it. Like, I don't know or understand, like, why I'm in this sea of emotion. But my saving grace has been literally Jesus allowing me to get in his presence and teaching me how to hold the presence once I come up out of it. I think sometimes, for me, I can speak for myself, when you've been in silent mode for so many years and you've never been able to acknowledge anything that has happened to you emotionally. And now that you're at a point where you're like sober, you're feeling all the things, you have to make an adult decision to adult. And it's not as ghetto as we describe it to be. You have to decide that you're ready to win and that you're tired of yourself. You have to decide that you've come to the end of yourself and you can't do it anymore. And that's going to look like a number of things. That's going to look like having a tantrum. That's going to look like getting the work done when you don't even know like where to start. That's going to look like continuing to create, but also continuing to unravel yourself and examine yourself according to what God wants you to look at, according to what Jesus needs you to examine within your soul. It's really dangerous when you can't see yourself. And I do believe in the power of having somebody else show you, like, this is what's going on with you and it's unhealthy. And I've had to deal with that. And so with that, I've also had to see, how does that come across? How is that affecting my worship life? How is that affecting my everyday life, especially in the area of my mental health, especially in the area of my emotional health? Like, how do I really show up? And also, going back to the original statement, like, are my motives even right with God? Like, am I just worshiping God because I want something out of it? I mean, that's something I have to question, because the relationship, it's not enough to just worship God. It's like, when I come out of worship, am I still upholding a posture of obedience? Like, am I still obedient to God even when I come out of worship? Like, am I still going to follow him? Or am I worshiping God and then expecting like a quick fix out of that worship? Like, can he trust me in my seasons of being in the wilderness? Can he trust me to still serve him even when he's silent? Am I going to throw God away for a certain lifestyle? Am I going to throw God away for my emotions? Am I trading God out of the way because I'm impatient, because I'm being folly? Like, what's going on there? So with that, I mean, my platform is just going through the ebb and flows of my accountability, and also going through the ebb and flows of what it's like for me to go through this adulting and healing journey, and you're gonna, with healing, there's gonna be hits, there's gonna be misses, there's going to be times where you're like, oh, I'm completely on a euphoric high, I'm completely on, cloud nine, and it's like, no, you're being governed by your emotions, and you're gonna have to check that. You should always be focused on what it is that's your end goal. And don't let anyone beguile you into jumping steps through your insecurities and your self-comparison, And I'm learning that. And it's crazy because I never considered myself a jealous person, because I never said anything out of spite or jealousy. And then when I started saying things out of spite and jealousy, it was like, I've been jealous, I've been spiteful, I've been, you know, unhealed and broken the entire time. So now that there's an awareness of it, it's like, okay, now we can start this journey of maturity. Where do we start? Where do we pick up the pieces? How do we go forward with this? And it starts for me, the foundation of being in the Word. It starts also for me allowing myself to not only have a conversation with God, but allowing God to check me and listen to what He has to say when it comes to being in worship and carrying that worship out into the world. I cannot be carnal anymore. When it all comes down to it, it's carnality, it's demonic, it's sowing seeds of discord because you have disruption in your own soul and your own spirit. It's self-sabotage. It's unlearning self-limiting beliefs and behaviors. It's a lot of different things that's mixed into it. But it also goes back to me saying, as you could see in the thumbnail, I only speak to God when there's a deposit involved. There has been a very transactional, very city girl hotels relationship when it comes to how I'm treating God. What am I getting out of this? And so when you transition from what am I getting out of this to how can I love you more and carry that obedience out throughout my daily life, that's how you know that, okay, the maturity is finally setting in. It's going to take a couple of bumps on the head. It's going to take a couple of, pow-pows. It's going to take a couple of times with going around the mountain if you're as stubborn as I've been, Israel, and, finding, the rhythm in being able to be obedient. That's going to take some time, but I am happy nonetheless, not because, oh, I'm in the clear of anything. No, I'm happy because of the fact that I can come to the realization and be woman enough to admit that my relationship went from I'm not worthy to entitlement, which are two different spectrums of pride, right? To do I really love God in the way that I say I do? And if so, how is that showing up in my obedience? And what can I do to improve on that? So if you're anything like me, have a conversation with God, have a conversation with yourself, and go from transactional to authentic, because it will free you up in the end, and it'll help with the growth, it'll help with the maturity. Bye for now.